Welcome back to dznpodcast. We're here again, and right now we're gonna talk about some sports. So, who's the greatest player of all time, LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
I vote Michael Jordan
Explain.
because he grew up in an era where defense was he grew up in an era where defense was the primary reason some of the players got into the league, and there was less interference for the refs when they were rough. So like if you were a scorer, you really had to be really good to get up to like 40, 50 points. And Jordan scored 30 points, averaged that for a season.
Anything
So scoring in better than he was better than MJ. I mean, he was better than LeBron. And then he obviously has more rings, so that was it.
But he also did play better defense. He was on an all defensive team also. But even though LeBron does have an argument in the stake, he may not hold up all the way.
He does.
But like I said, if you think about all the stuff he's done in his career, he brought some of the most scrubbiest players to the promised land, even though he didn't fulfill. Like when in 2007, when he played the Spurs, that team wasn't supposed to get that far. He wasn't supposed to get that far. And he had almost the same team as Allen Iverson did back in 2001. Except they were older.
Well, would you say pound for pound that Jordan was just an all-around better, like, leader? But like he made his teammates better.
I can give you that. Because even though it's kind of like a misconception, like LeBron makes all his teammates better, which he could, but to the degree that Jordan may have done it, it's not as applicable. But if you think about it, LeBron still can lift from nothing to something. Even though Jordan was able to actually win, LeBron still has the ability to say, even though we're at the bottom, we go to the top. Well, the only reason LeBron doesn't get his just due because he can't complete the deal that Jordan could.
Mm-hmm. And like the players he brought with him also had a lot to do. How close do I gotta be?
Like I said, bro.
The players that he had with him, LeBron had a lot to do with their success as well. Because if you think about it, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, they could have went to the finals.
Well, Dwayne Wade did go to the finals and won with Shaq. So you do have a point. In order for them to get to that level of complete dominance, LeBron was a factor into it. Also, though, LeBron may have diminished other teammates in that same token because of the way he was and how dominant he is on the team, and he wants to always do it his way. He may not be able to sometimes be coachable and adapt to other ways besides the way he's comfortable playing. Except for in Miami, where he was posting up more, doing a tad bit off the ball stuff. Because if you notice, the ball has to be in his hand most of the times for stuff to work. And Jordan could kind of do a little bit off the ball, more on the defensive end, off screens and whatnot. So
actually, I think LeBron James had the better prime. Like when he was playing in Miami for those 3 years, he was the best player of all time. If he would have kept that, and nobody could. If he would have kept that level of play up, he would have been way better than Jordan.
Sitting back and listening to the conversation is difficult to say because as a guy that grew up watching Jordan play and being able to go to the arena to see Jordan play at a young age, it was very, very nostalgic because you had never seen basketball like that before. But in a side note, being the greatest of all time is just a title because we don't know what others will do in the future in basketball. So you can't really say there is a greatest of all time until the basketball league ends, which will probably be never because NBA is a great association. But as far as the greatest player to have done it so far, I would still have to give that to Mike just because of his overall game. The greatest athlete to do it, I would have to give that to LeBron because I never can actually say that I've seen Jordan play all 5 defensive positions. I've never been able to say I've seen Michael play all 5 offensive positions. I've never seen Mike hand out more than 10, 11 assists a game, if that. I've seen LeBron do 15. It's just like with the all-around game, yes, Mike was immaculable. He was unguardable. When he was in the league, there was nothing like him. But right now, there's nothing like LeBron in the league. And seeing him play as a fan and as a critic of the sport, I can only say that LeBron has elevated his game to a point where it's no longer a little boy's game. He plays a grown man's game. He will take you to the hole. He will pull up in your face. He don't care what you think about him. He gonna do him out on that court. And that's why he went to Hollywood, because that's where stars shine. And at the end of the day, it's only right to end your career where another great ended his career.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's true.
So he picked Jordan. I picked Jordan.
I'm going to roll with Jordan, even though LeBron's my favorite. I'm going to roll with Jordan because I know for a fact Jordan can do more and is a better value to a team than LeBron. Not saying LeBron isn't a good value, but Jordan had an ability to see both sides of an equation. Sometimes LeBron doesn't. LeBron will be a little bit headstrong sometimes in decision making in the fourth quarter. He'll think a 3-point jump shot he did before will work in that situation, but it's a different situation. So that same solution isn't going to solve that problem.
I can hear that.
So,
but at the same time, you got to think who we talking about. We talking about LeBron and Mike. Yes, we talk about LeBron and Mike, but we forget to talk about those who surrounded them when they played those games. Mike had teams like Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc. You had all those people on the same team at the same time with Mike. That's 4 All-Stars right there. LeBron never had the chance to say he had 4 All-Stars on his team. And then not only saying that they helped him win those rings, because Mike did a lot of that work himself, but a lot of that work that Mike did came from them scoring key points that they didn't have to focus on Mike as hard, because they had to put their defense on other players that were clutch players and key players for them as well. When LeBron has been a clutch and key player for most of the teams that he's been at because he couldn't count on other players. Not saying that he didn't have them, but he felt like he couldn't count on them because there were situations where they let him down.
Okay, I see where you're going. Thing is, about LeBron being clutch, he has been clutch. That's something people really don't like to remember. Back in his early Cleveland days, going against the Wizards and the Pistons, back in like 07, 06, 08-ish, he was the dude that scored 25 points in that fourth quarter to get them that win over the Pistons and get them to the finals, or to the conference finals that year. He was the one that tapped Gilbert Arenas on the shoulder and then made that game-winning layup to win that game against Washington. He was the one that hit that game-winning shot in Orlando, even though they lost that series that was supposed to go and play Kobe and had that matrimony in the finals. He was the one that hit that shot. So LeBron has been clutch at times because he put himself in that mind state of, okay, I don't have a choice but to do this myself because nobody else around me will. So I get that. Also, Jordan did have players around him that was all-stars. LeBron did too. Not as many, but he did have them. The difference between them two is accountability he put on his all-stars. Jordan put more accountability on his players, in my opinion, than LeBron does. LeBron may put some, but he may give them the slack off. Like I say this every time. If he didn't spaz out and lose control in that series in the finals when they lost because of J.R. Smith, they could have won that game still. I still believe that. If he didn't show he lost control and got crazy, they could have won that game.
It was seconds left. They did still have time to react. It was only down by 2 points. That was a game that they still could have won. You're right about that. It's all about your attitude and persona at the end of the day. And what we're saying is that's what we're talking about. You know, like I said, as far as an all-around player of the game, I give that win to Jordan all day. I give that vote to him. But as far as, you know, like I said, as an overall player of the game, control, mindset, everything like that, Jordan wins that because he was controlled, he was fluent, he was immaculate. Like I said, nobody has ever seen anybody play a flu game besides him. I mean, who do you know that's coming out to the floor with flu-like symptoms, you sweating and throwing up in the locker room, and you still come out and drop 30? And I don't know nobody that's doing that right now. I ain't seen nobody doing it in the league besides him. I've been watching basketball for 20 plus years. You know, but as far as an overall athlete and a player that is so dedicated to the game that he knows nothing else but that, I would have to get that to LeBron, man. Because he dedicates himself so much and reinvents himself almost every year. I see a new aspect of his game. And if you're dedicated to basketball that much, where you know what you need to work on still, in your 10th seat, is it his 10th this year?
I think it's like 15.
Shit.
He came to the league in like 04. 03, so it was like 15, 16.
I'm 28, bro. He came in the league when I was like fucking 13, 14, maybe 15, something like that. Like, shit. It's been some years. Shout out to LeBron. Still rocking strong. But as a man, you know, we have to realize, like, if he can still know and figure out how to tweak his game, that he knows that, hey, this needs working on, or, you know, last night my jump shot really wasn't falling, I'm gonna go and put 50 up tonight. That's true dedication. He's still not stopping. He's not done with his craft, and that's what I mean by overall athlete. Those are things that Jordan did when he was in the league. Yes, I know he did, but at the same time, I don't think I've ever seen anybody as front foot forward into this game as LeBron James. I don't think I've ever seen that. Besides Jordan's persona when I watched him play as a youngin', like, but to understand the game of basketball and to visualize it and to see everything that's happened in the last 10 years or so, it's like in the last decade, a couple of decades, I haven't seen anybody that can compare to LeBron besides Jordan, bro. Ever. And truthfully being said, I don't think there will be another besides your boy Zion.
There are always abilities that have others, but I agree with you there.
Yeah, in the next future class, like seeing them grow up, the only person coming out of this future class that will ever amount to what they're doing will probably be Zion. He has the body build, he has the gameplay, he has the mindset to go there. He just has to apply it.
Yeah, he needs to change his game a little bit too, but yeah. Like I said, that's why we probably need to stop doing comparisons though, because just like you said, they both are from different eras, so it's really not right to compare them in the first place.
Exactly, and that's the thing. As basketball goes on, we will see graduating classes every year from now on till whenever. And if you look back at past or the history of basketball, when someone new comes into the league, they used to give you time to be into the league until they started comparing you to other people being there. They would say, oh, well, so-and-so has this amount of points per game, and so-and-so has this amount of assists per game, so-and-so has this amount of steals. But you're fifth on the rookie list because this is your rookie year. You haven't really been, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't compare you to the rest of the league because you're still a rookie. You're still new in the league, But what I think they should do is they should allow you like a grace period to become, seasoned in the league, not just your rookie year. You can't just automatically take training wheels off and think you about to start riding down the highway on your motorcycle. You have to take training wheels off, start riding bike, pedaling first, and then you learn how to do different things. Then you learn how to ride your motorcycle.
That sounds good in the past era, but now we live in the era where it's the microwave generation. Everybody wants results and they want it now. Nobody wants to wait or put in the work or the time to get the things that they need to be in the future, to be the greatness, to be successful. They want it right now, not later, not 10 years from now. They want it now. And just like people, this is the same as the media. The media wants them, and the fans want them to be great right now because they can't wait tomorrow. They think they're going to miss something if they're not great anymore. In reality, as you said, time, we put value on time that really doesn't have value because it can happen now, it can happen then. It doesn't matter. Imagine if you look outside and it's like 12 o'clock, but 12 o'clock didn't exist. It was just how it looked outside.
Yeah, it'd just be daytime or nighttime.
It's just be.
It would just be.
Exactly. That's how I feel like people should really try to think about things instead of now or later. Just be.
Just be. Just let it be in the time.
So you're saying that, are you talking about the comparison to Michael Jordan and LeBron?
Just comparisons in general.
In general. I mean, like, we try to compare
everything.
everything in life. Like he says, like mayo over mustard. Why does it matter if one is someone else's preference and this is yours? Then let that be.
Does it taste good?
Is it pleasing to you? You know, that's what he's saying. He's basically saying, like, you know, if a bird is a bird, why does that bird have to be a parrot? Why can't it just be that bird? We have to put descriptions on things. As a human race and a culture, we feel like no matter what we do, we always have to add a description behind it. Mm-hmm. Prime example, what we're doing now. This is table talk. But to put an educated term on it and to put it out there in the world, we call it podcast. Because everybody sits and talks, but do they sit and talk about valuable subjects? Do they sit and talk about things that are going to be informational and key to what we're thinking about in everyday life? No, they don't. Some people have meaningless conversations, but when you have conversations with meaning, sometimes they need to be recorded, which hence comes the podcast. So, like I said, as humans, we put relevance behind things. We make things important. No matter if somebody tells you what you're doing isn't as important as what the next person is doing, that doesn't matter, because if that person feels like what you're doing is not important, if you feel like what you're doing is important, then it's important because it's important to you. It doesn't matter who is important to, besides if it's important to you and you know that it's important to you, then that is the importance of being important. Simple as that.
He dropped another one.
At the end of the day, we all have values and things we go by. It's just we can't let anybody degrade our values and make them change, because that changes and degrades who we are as an individual person. And that goes back to this equality thing. When people and groups are trying to, I don't have anything against the groups, do what you gotta do, but we're all trying to ask for something that we're never gonna get. Is equality. Because we are all different. But that's the beauty of us as people. We're not the same. If all of us at the table thought and was the same person, this conversation would suck and would be boring. We would not meet each other. We would not like each other, because nobody really likes people that are the same all the way, have similar traits and likabilities and such, sure, but as the same all the way, no, nobody wants or enjoys that. That's why it's the beauty of everybody being an individual, learning, discovering, talking, thinking. Being with and without someone else makes everybody great in their own right, with good and bad traits of each other. What? What?
So just live and be the best person you can be with your own morals and reasoning behind it. As long as it's important to you, basically. Be yourself. You don't have to be necessarily equal to someone else, because it doesn't matter what they're on. Because you can't live through their shoes. You just got to be you. So Michael Jordan, it don't matter if LeBron scores 100,000 points. If you feel like you're the best player, that's just how you feel.
I mean, like, basically, piggybacking off of all that, you know, in life, we choose which lane to take as far as an ideology. You know, I'm using it as an example, a visualization. You know, visualize you're on a highway driving. You have the right to take an exit that's going to take you east, west, south, or north. You choose which lane you ride in because you know which destination you're headed towards. But if you have a passenger and they also think they know where they're going to try to lead you astray. But sometimes you have to stay in your own lane to get to your destination because you know that's what you're headed for. And basically that's saying don't let naysayers or anyone knock you off or knock you astray to what you're really believing in your goals to be.
So what I see, this shit makes so, because look, like, oh, you can't do this and that, but that's only because you're out of line from going from their goal. They think you're wrong because their goal isn't the same as yours. Yeah. And you should have the same goal as them, which is stupid.
It is. People try to put where they think they should be on you and try to put you down exactly. Because you're not going the direction that they want to go. But they're too scared to jump and do it anyway. So they think bringing them, somebody else that was going to bring them up, when they're going to be in the same place they was if they talked or didn't talk to that person.
So when they say Durant, like they say he plays like he's the most unselfish superstar, and that makes it bad. He's not going. That just simply means he's not going for the dude who takes every shot. That's not his goal. He accomplished his goal. So why is it wrong that he passes the ball a little bit more?
Because they want him to be the most dominant player on the floor.
That's their goal.
Exactly. That's not his. Yeah. He wants to have championships because y'all put the facade out there that somebody isn't great until they get championships in the first place. That's why he left Westbrook. Besides Westbrook being a little bit of a ball hog, that's why he left, because he wanted to get that ring that he knew he wasn't going to get if he was there.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. He probably would have got the ring if he would have stayed, but they both would have had to get over their egos first.
That's what I mean.
I mean, me being an OKC fan, I look back and I remember good days when it was James, Russ, and KD.
God damn. That was it.
And before Steve Adams even developed to what he is now, they were working with that man, and if they could have just all gotten past their egos, that would have been the new Golden State Warriors, and there would not have been any competition in the league for them on the West or the East Coast. Because if you look at their games now, they're three of the top scorers in the league. They're three of the top players in the league. And I'm pretty sure each one of them have won MVP. So, being that said, if they all would have just stayed together, been a happy little family like we all should be as African Americans, one with each other, and get along, I think it would have been a lot better for them. I don't necessarily think that they would be in the limelight as much as they are, and that's probably what they wanted in each one of their careers, because they wanted to be the highlighted player of their team. But seeing that each one of them still have superstars on their teams, I don't believe that that was the true case. I really believe that it was more underlying that trade situation, because I don't think it was just, them not being able to get along or them not being able to put aside their differences. I think it was really something that was more underlying there, like, personal, because, there was a time where Russ and KD were like big brother and little brother, and then you saw their whole relationship turn upside down. And then it's like James was in the middle of that, so he had no choice but to leave as well. So then it became Russ's team, because Russ is like, well, Kevin left me and James left me, so I have no choice but to rebuild this team.
It's because
and he went to have one of the most historic years in the history of the league.
That ended with him being in and out of the playoffs.
Get the playoffs.
But
he's a machine.
He also has a nickname of Russell Westbrook. He had to change his game a little bit for that to still work. If you see the way he plays in all of them, it's only one basketball. And also, you run another dynamic that people really don't look into much, is the alpha male versus the betas. Now, Russ is an alpha male. Is he one of the best alpha males? Don't know. But Russ is an alpha male. KD, not so much. He may have the qualities, but he's not really an alpha male. So people saying it's Russ's team, that's correct because he took that role, because that's what the type of dude Russ is. Now James, don't really know which one he is. Doesn't really matter, but the way they all played, that couldn't last long because of the way they played. James and Russ are ball dominant. James is a more willing passer than Russell is, but they still need to be in that point guard role for their teams to be successful and for them to be happy also in their own heads.
So how does it work for Russ with PG and Melo? But I mean, before Melo left, like, I mean, you got PG that's dominant too, you know, and him and Russ can seem to get along perfectly fine.
Because reason why I'm gonna touch on Melo right quick first. Reason why Melo isn't there because he hasn't changed his game and his game isn't adaptable to the new era. That's one. It didn't fit in with that system or team well at all. And plus, Melo didn't really play defense that much.
Melo never played defense.
That too. But the reason why PG and Russ work is because Russ has finally started to change his game. And he realized now he has to in order for this to work. It took a second, but now it's starting to make sense. And PG is starting to get his old self back from his leg injury also. So that's also why. And PG doesn't, I don't know if he's an alpha or a beta, but I can tell he doesn't like being a point guard. So that's why that works. I'm not saying KD likes to be a point guard, but KD likes the ball in his hands. So does PG, but not as much as KD. Paul George is an all-star, but not like KD, if that makes any sense. He can give you 40,
but KD is guaranteed to give you at least 30.
Exactly. And the ball doesn't need to be in his hand as much to give you those points.
I understand that.
And that's why the Russ and PG thing works, because Russ is ball dominant.
True. But see, this is the thing. If he could understand it now and he sees that he needs to change his game now, like you were saying, my question is, if I got that close to the finals with a player like James Harden and Kevin Durant on my team, I would realize I needed to change too if I'm not hitting my shots. And I would work something out to where we could win this ring. Because they could have won rings, bro. They could have won multiple rings. Back to back even. That was a team that was like, you know, like, I don't even know who I can compare them to really.
Where like their 6 man could have easily been. He is the dominant player on someone else's team.
That's what I'm saying. Like, James was coming off the bench, man. They didn't even start him.
Development and age, not in the physical sense, but in the mental.
Exactly.
That's why they didn't realize it at the time. And like you said, egos. At the time, they didn't realize how good they were, maybe, and how good they were going to be. Well, they probably knew how good they were going to be, but they didn't know how good they were together. And plus, in order for that to work, James was going to want to start eventually. He wasn't, but that worked so well because he was on the bench running the second unit. That's why.
And they were deep. Their team was really deep. Like, their whole team was deep, OKC. So if you think about it, they really could have they might have been 2 years away from their goal. They would have all got a ring.
But you also have a management team and a salary cap that prevents stuff like this from happening, unfortunately. Now
take that tax and get the ring.
Now, if they would have convinced their GM to say, hey, we can keep Ibaka and James, or let's keep James instead of Ibaka, which isn't even on the team anymore, neither of them. Now we have a different conversation, because after they broke up, James anyway left. Russ and KD was both having injuries back-to-back years. And then the last time that they was about to win, they both of them folded in the clutch and couldn't hit a shot. That's the only reason why they lost to Golden State. They couldn't hit a shot. And then KD realized that him playing with Russ wasn't going to last any longer. So he was like, I'm bouncing.
Are you sure?
That's just my...
That's your outlook on it.
That's mine.
That's your outlook on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like everybody has opinions. That's his outlook on it. My outtake on it is, like you said, Rush and KD, they started going back and forth at each other after a while. And you could see the brotherhood starting to dismantle. And even though now they're still cool, they still talk to each other when they play against each other. They still dap each other up, but they talk shit to each other the whole game. You see it. And the real reason behind that is because it's not just that KD left. He left after the year that they lost to the Warriors and then went to play for them. That's like saying, I know a nigga that beat your ass, left you in the alley. I found you ass whooped, bloodied up, all that. I picked you up. You my nigga, you my little cousin. And then after I picked you up, took care of you, took you to the hospital, I went back to that nigga house to chill with him after I knew he beat you up, and I ain't say shit about it to him because I didn't want to fight him for some reason. That's like saying, your hands are better than mine, so I don't even want to mention, what happened. It's like, KD, your team is better than what my team was where I'm coming from, so I don't even want to mention what happened last season. We're going to go on to this next season, and we're going to get this ring. But Russ took a shot to a heart to that, man. That was personal. Fuck the league, fuck the rings, fuck everything, dog. We were supposed to be homies. You were supposed to be my brother. We went through these whole, 4 or 5 seasons together? They stayed together for 4 or 5 seasons, at least. And then you gonna turn around and do some fuckboy shit like leave me after we lost the finals to these niggas and go play for them, and then I gotta play for you. I gotta play against you every game we play with them for the rest of every season until we get out of the league. Nigga, you know how much that hurt his pride as a player? Just think about that shit. That's like saying, you know what? I know I'm a Mayfield, and I know I was born this way, but I don't like my family no more. I'm gonna go be with another family, and then I'm gonna make sure y'all see me with that family doing everything that we do, because I didn't like being with this other family. Right or wrong?
Got you. Yeah, I get it.
So what I'm saying is the NBA as a league has become so saturated that it's not even funny anymore. It's like we play for gratification now. We don't play because of the game anymore. And that's what's wrong with today's game. That's why we have the non-ending comparison of who was better, Michael or LeBron, who was a better shooter, Larry or Steph. That's why we have these conversations all day. It's because it's so saturated that no one cares about the real game anymore. No one talks about Russ averaging a triple-double for 3 years straight. Almost. Nobody's done that since Oscar Robinson. Bro, that was like the 60s and 70s. I wasn't even alive. But we don't know about shit like that because people don't inform us and we don't inform ourselves. So we think that basketball that we watch today is the way it's supposed to be played. But like I said, it's so watered down and saturated now that this is what we've come to believe. And we think that it's okay to just jump from team to team to team and franchise to franchise because it doesn't matter what your name is. It doesn't matter if you're a household name. It doesn't matter if you bought that team out of the mud and muck and brought them to the best ability that they can be. All that matters is if you can come to a team, get a ring, get a championship, play for a couple of seasons, maybe get another ring, and make us some extra money. After you get those rings, we don't care if you leave or you stay. Mm-hmm. We're done with you. We washed our hands. I mean, it's your choice whether you stay now.
Yeah. So basically, the league is soft and people don't care about what's going on in the league because it's either been done before or it's not exciting. Like I said, Russ Ab doing triple doubles 3 seasons in a row. It's cool, but we know how and why he's getting them. He taking rebounds from his big man. He forcing assists almost every other game.
Sad.
Keep it 100.
Sad.
That's the thing. That's why his triple doubles really don't get of value anymore after the first time because we know how and why he's doing it. People are now paying attention.
It's sad when your point guard is getting more rebounds than your big man.
Yeah. Point guard get more rebounds than your big man. Come on.
That's when you know it's something wrong.
It's like the way you can see the world. You think you know what's going on. You overthinking the situation, but in reality, it's really simple and it's right in front of you what's going on. Is if you have the mind to just look at it and digest it.
You know, it kind of spoils like the NBA for me. It's like, you know, good and well, you just know like if your favorite team isn't the Golden State Warriors or whatever team LeBron's on, they're not gonna go anywhere significant.
Because, like he said, it's watered down. People aren't as good as they used to be.
I don't think what. I think we have the most skill level in the NBA is at an all-time high.
No, it's not.
For pure skill. Yes, it is. Yes.
You know why? Because if you watch the way people play now, it's the product of the AAU era. It's the product of the N1 mixtape era. It's the product of those coming together and doing ISO basketball. The reason the Golden State Warriors are so good because they know how to play team basketball the proper way it's supposed to be played. You see all these other teams playing isolation basketball, one-on-one, and they aren't able to catch up to them because...
So, if that's the case, why aren't the Spurs going to...
Because the pieces...
The Spurs are going somewhere this year.
They're not going to win a ring, and we know exactly why. And it's not because...
But that's not necessarily true. They can apply themselves to win that ring. It's just that they have to go up against a powerhouse to get there. And depending on how that works and how it plays out, that's up to them whether or not they succeed. Because, I mean, you got to look at their lineup. Even though they got to play Golden State or Houston or, You know, who else might they have to run into? Utah, is it Utah?
Yeah,
Utah on the West.
Sure.
Utah on
Yeah.
the West. Yeah,
Yeah.
Utah on the West, and that's your boy Mitchell and them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My point is, we have a lot of talent in the league, and the reason that the Golden State Warriors are winning is because they have a lot of talent just on their team.
True.
I feel like we have
But
the
what
most
he was
amount of
saying-
skilled players.
It's not only because they have a lot of talent, it's because
They
they know
play.
how to utilize their talent.
Mhm.
They know how to utilize playing team ball. Not everybody can do that.
The Wizards should
Well,
not
we just
be as
talked
bad
about
as
it,
they
Tim
are.
Duncan.
The Wizards should not be bad, but they are. At the point in time when Jason Kidd was coaching the Bucks, they shouldn't have been as bad as they were. You see where I'm getting at? Certain teams
Yeah,
should be better
I
than they
agree.
are. That's what I'm talking about.
I just
though.
feel like we have a lot of skilled players in the league versus back in the day.
You would
which as
think.
in 90s.
You would
I
think.
don't know, bro. This
We had Kobe.
this
We
era.
had Curry. Those two alone.
But you see how far you stretched out? Kobe was a 90s,
90s
player.
player.
So you got to take him out that conversation.
Okay.
You could say LeBron is skilled, but not really.
See, once you hit 2000, you're not in 99 anymore.
It was
You're
a
in
dry
2000.
period between like 99, 2002, 3-ish. That's why Jordan
And-
came back.
And when you think about it,
But we can name like a lot of the players over 100 are very, very, very talented.
and in the 2000s,
From just players that are in the league now.
yeah, like 06 to now,
Yeah.
if they were there, yeah. But you also have to think from 90 to 98, bro. You had people like Jerry Stackhouse. You had people like KG. You had people like Ray Allen.
AI.
You had people like AI. You had people like Paul Pierce. You had people like Chauncey Billups. You had people like Rip Hamilton. You had people like Ben Wallace.
Mike Bibby,
But
Jason
could I argue to
Williams.
say that people now are taking their skills to a new level? Because
No.
you seen Ray Allen couldn't shoot off the dribble that well.
What?
You know he used to be dunking on people before he became a jump shooter.
Yeah, I know.
Got you.
I'm talking about
Yo,
shooting as well as Curry from off the
pause
dribble.
the whole
and James
conversation.
Harden.
You just said my man Jesus Shuttlesworth could not shoot off the dribble. Did you just say that?
That well,
Did you forget the game-winning shot?
I'm
Miami.
talking about like you're handling the ball already. You
He
go
was
off a
handling
screen.
the ball. That was the game-winning shot. He came off of plenty of screens.
I think a better thing to say would be that wasn't his specialty.
It wasn't his
It
specialty.
wasn't his specialty.
Never,
That's all you had
but,
to say.
But
Okay, my fault.
off dribble shot or coming off a screen or anything like that. That's hard to say that Ray Allen wasn't consistent with shooting those shots, because he definitely was, and he was one of the players that signified a off-screen pick and pop. He really did. He elevated that pick and pop, bro. He would come to the point guard, set that pick, roll out, boom, pop it in your face. And that was Ray Allen for you. But
Well, could I say that Curry does it a little bit better than Ray Allen?
Bro, we can say he's the greatest shooter of all time. All right,
Curry-
you can have it.
Okay, that's what I'm
take
saying.
it.
A lot of the players pick off what they do and elevate it
Curry
for this generation.
I don't-
Now everybody can dribble. Even the centers can dribble. It's
I don't-
more skill in the league now.
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
think I've ever seen anybody shoot the ball as consistently and as accurately as Steph Curry has today, right now, as far as 3-pointers go. You know, he can hit it from anywhere on the floor, really. He can step back, dribble, pull up, whatever you think, pick and pop, you name it, he can do it. I'm not going to give you that he can't. But the only person that I can say that actually had accuracy and was like that when he first got in the league, and I mean first got in the league, and he was young and he was stroking that thing. Your boy Kyle Korver.
Yeah.
He the only other one that I can actually say, like, I didn't see him stroke it like Steph. Like, I'm talking about, like, nonstop.
Lillard.
Steve Nash, if he would have shot more.
Steve Nash.
If he would have shot, that's who Steve Nash could have been if he would have shot the ball.
Steve Nash, definitely. I see that. His shot was super wet. And if he would have shot more, he could have been like Steph Curry.
He even said it himself.
He could have.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
But I don't think Steph is still rated how he should be. You know, I think
because he hasn't showed up in the finals.
I think that Steph is still blossoming. I still think Steph has levels to go. I don't think that Steph is done with his game yet. I see Steph doing more things than what he's doing now. You know, I see him being like a Russell Westbrook, averaging triple doubles. You know, but it's only for him to say whether or not he's going to work on the aspect of his game, because he's an all-around offensive player. He's never really been a true defensive player. He's never been a true rebounder. He's never had to do any of those things, because every team that he's ever played for, he's always been an elite scorer. So he didn't really have to worry about rebounding his own shot or stealing the ball or playing defense, because they were always up by 10 or 20 points. Mm-hmm. When you're up that high, you don't care about defense. Because if you score, I can score 3 more or 6 more right back in your face. So why do I need to play defense on you when I can just come back and shoot this shot and go? Why should I waste my energy on the other end of the court when I know I'm going to come back and drop 12 on you in the next 2 minutes? Just like that. When you only made 2 points and missed the other 3 shots. I mean, it's simple math. Why should I do it when I have 4 other players on the court that are going to help me?
You know how we can solve this debate of who had the most skilled players? Let's see, like, count off the most stacked teams from the era that you're referring to.
Stacked teams?
I know you did have the Celtics with Paul Pierce, Rondo. Wait, did he?
That's more in like our era.
That's more our era.
But Paul,
you didn't have Rondo.
Rondo wasn't there yet.
You did have Ray. You had
Garnett,
and Paul.
No,
Paul.
Rondo was there.
No, but not until late 90s, early 2000s. Rondo didn't come to the Celtics. It was your boy Kerry Kittles and
I'm talking about like more like 08. That's what I'm talking about. Like
okay, yeah. It was Rondo then. Yeah,
I'm 08.
That was about the time when Paul Pierce was getting ready to retire, though.
And Rondo came in the league like 06.
Yeah, but Rondo didn't play for the Celtics first. That wasn't his first team.
Yeah, I forgot who he played for.
And you had the Celtics. Wow. You ready? You had the Celtics. Had the Bulls, of course.
Wait, you talking about?
You said 90s, right? Stacked teams for the 90s.
All right, okay.
The Celtics, the Bulls. You got the Pacers.
Orlando.
You got Orlando.
You could say New York at one point in time.
One point in time, you had New York, definitely. The Knicks was stacked. The Lakers have always been stacked.
Well, they weren't
in the 90s.
Stacked.
They had.
I'm talking about.
They had Kobe. They had
every
Shaq.
player.
They had Ron Artest.
No, he wasn't there in the 90s. Ron Artest was 2000s.
Okay. They had Shaq. They had Kobe. They had
That was like
Two it has to at least be three.
I don't know if you count D Fisher in there.
Zoe wasn't Zoe playing with them at that time?
Zoe who?
Morning.
Alonzo Mourning.
No.
Nah, he was on.
No.
I thought he was on the
No, I think you're trying to think about
Orlando.
Karl Malone. I think that's what you're thinking about.
Everything about. There we go.
Yeah.
And
He was old. He was on his way out. Bro.
yeah,
Yeah, him and Gary Payton. Yeah, they were on their way out.
yeah. But that was another team that was stacked in the 90s. The Seattle Supersonics.
Seattle. They had
GP,
Gary Payton,
Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp, Kerry Kittles. Kittles was on their team at one point.
To me, that's not stacked.
It's not stacked, but they were good.
But they were good.
That the stack doesn't mean good.
I mean, like you gotta think like
Yeah.
stack doesn't mean like
I'm just saying. I'm just like we're comparing. Like just
we're
random
comparing
talent.
we're comparing times, and then you got
The Phoenix. They played the Bulls in the finals. They was
Phoenix
nice.
was good. You
All right,
had
we talking about Steve Nash starting line.
No.
we're talking about
Back in the 90s.
We're talking about Barkley,
Barkley era. Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson,
Dan
your boy
Marjorie.
Dan. Then you had your boy on the Bulls. I ain't even think about it, but you know, they had Steve Kerr, they had Jordan, they had Pippen, they had Rodman, they had Tony Kukoc.
Yeah, the second time, yeah.
That was enough stacking for the whole league right there.
I didn't know.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know how good. I know Jordan.
Yo, Steve
Pippen. Kerr. I don't know how good he was.
He's a specialist.
I
Kerr's a
just
specialist.
like when I think of him, I think of like a replacement for D-Fish. Like he was always in the right spot, but he didn't.
Bruh.
What was his point per game average? It doesn't mean everything, but like I just wanted.
I don't remember what his points per game was, but I know that Steve Kerr was definitely a staple in every game that he played. No matter whether it was assists, defense, points, what, but he was definitely nice.
He hit the shot for I know he had a game winner, and he tried to touch. Wait, are you looking it up?
Yeah.
We need another. I told you we need another guy. We don't need to give him a mic. Just like let him do the research.
We can't afford it right now, so we're working with this. All right, so when he was in Chicago from 93 to 94, he didn't. Okay, his career average is.
Who you talking about, Steve Kerr?
Yeah. Damn, I don't even want to read this. So basically, he averaged like 2.2 field goals, 4.7 field goals attempted, 0.8 3-pointers, 1.8 attempted. Like I said, he didn't really do much.
But he was a key player.
Like I said, he
in
averaged
those situations.
His career, he averaged 6 points.
This conversation actually has a lot of heat behind it because that's like comparing the two generations. They think we've gone soft. So like
I say, and you say for the Bulls, you basically say he averaged 8 points his whole time he was in Chicago. Just looking at the stats.
See, that's crazy because
his impact might have went beyond the numbers.
exactly.
Like Draymond
but-
Green.
You see what I'm saying?
But
Numbers,
he scores a good amount though.
numbers speak, but they don't always speak the volumes. You see what I'm saying? Like what Dre was saying. Like,
So let's classify stack before we go on this.
Let's take out that whole word. How many good teams were in
Alright,
each
okay,
era? That's all we
okay.
had to do. Just take
But
out the
we're
word
comparing
stat.
talent. So like even if the team isn't good, they could still have talent.
True.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, but good teams and bad teams, there's a difference.
Okay, that they might have had the more good teams. I can tell you that right away
Because they had better players.
because
and they didn't play ISO ball.
And
it's
you could say
because
better
they
coaches.
knew, like, I don't know if they had better players. They did. They had Jordan.
They didn't just have Jordan, though. Jordan was the most dominant.
But there's a lot of players that are done. A lot of people. We're breaking records. Everyone. Every time you turn around, James Harden's breaking a record.
The game changed.
But those records were meant to be broken, and
which if you break the record, you have to be better than the person that
you know why the record's broken, because they changed the rules to make the game more fluid, and you don't have a hand check rule, and you don't have hard defense being played, and now you can't play zone. That's why records like this are being broken. If James Harden was getting hand checked every night, he wouldn't score 50 points back-to-back games. That's not going to be real. And if LeBron gets put down when he goes to the paint, he's not going to be as great as he is revered in now.
I agree, but you don't think they would be averaging around the same amount of points just by because James Harden makes almost every step back three?
Not saying that his game wouldn't be the same if he played somewhere else. That's why the conversation of eras and eras is kind of invalid, because they have to change their games in order to adapt in these eras. That's why when people talk about LeBron and Jordan, that's why it's such a weird disarray. Even Lord LeBron, the only reason they compare him because these are the two best players in their eras, arguably.
Arguably, well, it's not even arguably. It is. LeBron is the closest thing that y'all's generation will ever see to Jordan.
Yeah.
Because their players should play in their generation, because they did, and our generation. I don't know if how many of our players would transfer. I know Durant probably. He'd have a harder time. Curry have a hard time.
It's because if you go back to that era, it's more physical. Now it's not as physical.
LeBron will be just fine.
Yeah, they're trying to appeal to overseas because that's where the money's starting to go now. And that's what people maybe want to see. Don't really know. But that's where they're trying to expand the NBA so they can go overseas, like Tokyo and China. When the values of the game are getting lost in the process.
Wait, hold on. I want to ask him. All right, so Duncan or KG?
That's a hard one.
It is.
Damn, that's a hard one.
I'm on KG's side.
I'm on Duncan. I really am. Just seeing both of them play, I would say I would have to select Duncan, because Duncan has always had a shot as a big man. KG had to work on his. He was good in the post. He was good in like a mid-range jumper, a little close jumper, but Duncan could shoot the three early in the game. He didn't have to really develop that. He developed it getting better, but he had a shot from when he started at Wake Forest. So I would probably have to say Duncan, bro, just because of the type of player he was. Seeing that he could play center and power forward, it was like, something that was not thought of in that time. You know what I'm saying? Like a big man like him coming off of a screen shooting a three, or coming off a screen shooting a little 2-point jumper. I mean, you saw KG doing stuff like that, but KG wasn't as fluent with his game at that time like Tim Duncan was.
I also think Duncan was good for longer, but I think KG reached a point where in his prime, he was better than any power forward.
If KG's knees wouldn't have gave him problems, he would have been better than Tim Duncan, in my opinion. If he could have been the way he was for those 2 or 3 seasons right before his knees started getting bad, like I'm talking about when he was playing like good ball, like I'm talking about like he was getting doubles every night.
It was after that 08 season when they won. It was right after that.
You know
That's when he hurt his leg.
Yeah, like when he was doing that.
He has more rings.
Who?
Duncan. He had 5.
KG
got 1. Yeah, that's because he stayed at Minnesota so long when he was nice, that when he finally went to Boston, it was a little too late after he got that first one.
He was already
The damage has already been done. His body's already been through them aches and pains. And the mental where he had to have, because of all, he wore his emotions on his sleeve, yo.
Yeah, that's what
all
I
the
love
thing he
about it.
put in his game, even on a losing squad. If he would have thought like the players did today, he would have more rings. In the aspect of not
Oh,
being
this is
loyal to a
hard.
team.
Not being loyal.
Yeah, like, oh, this is hard. I'm about to go to this. Yeah, he would have definitely had more.
You know what? I'm out. Why am I at Minnesota if I can win a ring over here? That's what you would, you know. And that's the thing that we talk about now. Like, you know, there is no the game is watered down and saturated. You know, there's no loyalty behind. Oh, I signed with this team. This is the first team I signed with. They gave me an opportunity to come to the league, so I'm going to return that and reciprocate that with playing with them for at least 5 years out of this, you know, at least 10 years. You know, I want to stay with this team and in this organization. But people don't do that anymore. You know, they get in the league, they see what they're playing with. You know what I'm saying? See if they and getting along with their team, whatever. See how that money come in. And then after their first couple of years, if they ain't want a ring and they think that they superstars and they think they can go somewhere else and get that ring, they gonna leave automatically.
Should there be any loyalty? No, because the reason
It's
why
a
we're
job.
there, exactly.
Mhm.
It's a job.
That'd be dumb in that
It's a
situation.
job. I'm not saying don't take a better opportunity for yourself,
Yeah.
but I'm saying at the same time how the game has changed and evolved. You know, back in the day, we weren't signing $150 million checks to play ball for a year.
Money wasn't it, and
You know
nobody
what I'm
really
saying?
cared.
Yeah.
You feel me? Nobody was signing $300 million checks. You feel me? Nobody was doing that. Like, nobody had that type of money in the league. You know.
Now, like,
Now that's normal.
yeah, niggas on the verge
Yeah.
of being a superstar get more money. Like,
You
it's
feel
crazy.
me? Like, your man's what's your man's Kawhi? What he asked for? 80 million for a year or some shit?
Yeah.
For 1 year? 80 mil, nigga? I wish I had 1 mil, nigga. Like half of a mil, a quarter, a percentage of a mil, nigga. Like,
That's crazy.
niggas don't understand. That's an
Yeah, like rappers, like they're making rappers look like they're broke now.
that's like
That's crazy.
Because if you really trying to make money, you shouldn't be a rapper. I'm gonna keep it real. Rappers really don't make money unless you know how to do business. And most of these rappers don't know how to do business at all. That's why they're broke.
because they get business managers for them that want to manage their business, but they only manage their own business for themselves to put money in their pockets.
That's crazy.
And the
you
role
paying
back-
them to do it.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
And to roll back to Tekashi, in one of his last interviews before he got locked up, he was saying how he had to let go his people from his team because he learned he was getting underpaid for his shows. He said he could have made like almost $1 million, $3 million for a show instead of something like 80,000. I could get those numbers wrong, but he was really getting underpaid when he really found out what he was supposed to have. And that showed you how much money could be made out here when you get put in a position. So educate.
Educate, reciprocate, and repeat. Rinse, wash, repeat. Do the thing, man. Come on now. It ain't that hard. You know what I'm saying? Just do a little bit of reading, a little bit of research. Open your mind, you know. But it's just like he was saying, man, like, you know, piggybacking off like the Tekashi and going back to the situation that we had, like with what we was talking about with J. Cole, man. Like, it's just like you were saying, people rob you if you're not knowledgeable of what you're supposed to be doing. And obviously that man is knowledgeable of what he's supposed to be doing, because like you said, if he wanted more people, he would have more people. If he wanted to cut more checks, he would cut more checks. But if he's just doing what he wants to do right now, as far as himself, and he knows he can make more money off of his own music stream, why not do it? He knows what he's doing. He knows how to produce. He knows how to, you know what I'm saying? He's going to sign all his own checks, basically. So why should he worry about somebody else managing him or doing the producer or being an engineer for him or producing something else for him or even managing him when he could do it himself?
Yeah, he's making the best music he can in-house, which is cool.
He's in his own lane like we were talking about earlier.
And that's the key. Stay in your lane, be in your lane, be successful, enlighten, educate, and get knowledge. This is the end of the DZN podcast, episode 10. You can follow us on d.z.n podcast on Instagram, DZN podcast on Twitter, DZN podcast on Facebook. And you got anything to plug, sir?
Just follow me at Streets the Rasta on Instagram. That's at Streets STREETSDARASTA Instagram. And like I said, man, y'all stay woke out there, bro. Don't let nobody change your mindset. If you thinking about something that you can do to better yourself and do bigger and better endeavors in life, go for it. Don't let nobody turn you down. Like I said, I was one of those people that never believed in myself, man. So look where I'm at now. Do your thing, people.
All right. And we out. Peace.